session is comfort in the boat. And it has two primary elements. One of them is biomechanical and anatomical, and the other is neurological. Of the two, it's probably the neurological one that's more important, and the biomechanical one and anatomical one that's a little more accessible and will make sense to everybody right off the bat. So first I want to start with the anatomical. If a coach asks you to get in an athletic position, whether he's a tennis coach, a soccer coach, a gymnastics coach, a wrestling coach, a football coach, what is he asking for? Yes, and what else? There you go. Okay, go there again. Right. All right. Now, what's the advantage of that position? You can go in any direction at will, right? You're ready to go in any direction. Now, is this an athletic position?
No.
Is this an athletic position? Is this an athletic position? All right. When a coach asks you to get in an athletic position, if we're talking about a sport in which you are on your feet, he's talking about basically this. And this is true whether you're playing football, you're wrestling, you're playing tennis, whatever it is. You're in a position where you can change direction and you're ready to do anything, you're ready to react to anything around you. If you're not in an athletic position because you're not ready to do something and be in control of your environment. So very important when sports commentators, when an athlete gets beaten on the field, like a defensive back, the wide receiver gets past him and catches a pass over his head, the commentators say what about him? He got caught flat-footed, or he got caught on his heels, right? So something about the athletic position has to do with the balls of your feet and that being a more ready position than back here on your heels. So I've already talked a little bit about, maybe not to the whole group, but about the idea of this not being a seated sport. What takes the place of your feet to put you in an athletic position when you are in the rowing shell? You're on the right track, Ming Ying. Not your butt, but
Hips. Your back.
there's something.
Your sit bones.
Thano has heard this talk before, I think. But nevertheless, no, he's whether that's true or it's not, he's right. Your sit bones become a little bit like feet, and if you can feel the boat under your sit bones, you can get in a more athletic position than if you are sitting on your pockets, on the fat of your butt. If you conceive of your posterior as a large inert mass, you will be in a less athletic position than if you conceive of your sit bones as being able to control the seat. And I'll show you what I mean, and then we'll get on to the neurological component of this session. So, all right, so again, if I'm back here on my pockets and I scull like this, I am not nearly in an athletic position as if I get up here on my sit bones, where I can feel the boat under my sit bones and I can move the boat around using my sit bones. Oftentimes you hear coaches telling beginners, it's all about hand heights, it's all about hand heights. And you can stabilize the boat with your hand heights, and you can destabilize the boat with your hand heights, but it's sort of a crude way of stabilizing the boat, when the more athletic way of stabilizing the boat is with your sit bones, right? And from the shore, it looks the same. It's like, okay, is he moving the boat around with his hands? are his hands reacting to what his sit bones are doing, right? So to start with, everything that we're about to do in the first part of this session is going to have something to do with that athletic position and with about being able to use your sit bones and your core muscles to get the boat to do what you want it to do. The neurological component to this, we'll shift gears a little bit. Does anybody here walk tightropes? I have yet to have a yes answer to that, which is kind of advantageous because I don't know what I would do if somebody, oh yes, as a matter of fact, I do walk tightropes. But here's the thing. If you or I got on a tightrope this afternoon and the tightrope was 30 feet in the air and there was no net, our nervous system would have an adverse reaction to that. If our brain could speak English to us, it would say, I don't like this, this is weird, I'm not used to this is scary, and there would be anxiety present, and basically our nervous systems would be going haywire. It's like, what do I do with this? This is weird, this is a foreign environment, right? A tightrope walker does not have that reaction, and he wasn't born with that nervous system. He had to train his nervous system to be at home in that environment. And a single is not nearly as fraught with danger as a tightrope, but the same principle is at work. To your nervous system, it is a foreign environment, depending on how much time you've spent in a single, but just as your nervous system can be trained to grapple with the realities of a tightrope, your nervous system can be trained to grapple with the awkward realities of a single, or at least they start out as awkward realities. Make sense? So where this part of the talk and this part of the session came from was another Coach's Dock Talk. It was probably 7 or 8 years ago. One of our other directors was giving a dock talk, and I don't remember what his topic was, but, and this is Kevin McDermott, just so I appropriately cite. At one point in his dock talk, Kevin sort of gestured broadly around himself and said, you gotta own this space. And Kevin is one of the most comfortable people in a boat that I've ever seen. He's just as at home as he can be, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm willing to bet a lot of money that the first time he got in a single, he wasn't nearly as comfortable. So he said, you gotta own this space, and that got me thinking, okay, how can we get to that point where we're comfortable in this shell faster? There's the long way of spending 10,000 hours in the boat and just getting used to it and becoming at home. And then I wondered, it's a sport like any other sport. There are no shortcuts, but if there's a shortcut, what is it? And the shortcut, I think, is comfort in the boat drills, in which we deliberately court those awkward moments where you have the oh my God reaction, and then you stop, you take a deep breath, you say, okay, did I need to react that way? Did I have to have that overreaction? Or could I come out here and do this again and not have the oh my God moment? And so a lot of these drills will involve getting more comfortable at the front end of the stroke, which, as everyone knows, this is the least stable point in the stroke cycle. And when we are beginning scullers, it tends to be fraught. I asked a sculler one time right here at this dock. I said, okay, come up and sit at the front end. And she said, no. And I was like, okay, why not? Well, that's the scary place, and I don't want to go there. But you have to go there every single stroke. So if you could get more comfortable there, then you might not be quite as anxious about going there. And when you get to the point where you're comfortable up here, maybe not quite as comfortable as sitting in your living room chair, but still it ceases to be a scary place, and your nervous system doesn't have that oh my God reaction. And I'm not about to tell you that I don't still have the oh my God reaction from time to time. Something unexpected happens in the boat, I seize up like everybody else. But the purpose of this session is to gently try to move the frontier of that oh my God moment a little further away. One of the drills just involves letting go of an oar handle, and I was working with one of our year-round athletes on this sort of thing one day, and I said, okay, Sarah, come up to the front end and just let go of an oar handle. And her eyes got really big. She's like, are you serious? And we're talking about an elite athlete who didn't know that was possible. But she trusted me enough to do it, and her eyes got smaller, and she's like, wow, all right, I didn't even know that was possible. And so you promote greater comfort in the boat by sort of going to that edge where you might get a little uncomfortable, realizing that it's not as scary as you might think it was, and that your nervous system can be trained to adapt to it. And I'm going to demonstrate a few of these drills. When the dock talk is over, we're all going to row down to the end of the swim buoys, and we're going to congregate about 100 to 200 meters beyond the swim buoys, where the lake gets nice and wide and we can all be in the same spot. And we'll do about 15 or 20 minutes of these. We will ease into it with the least challenging and least fraught of them. And if after the first 15 or 20 minutes you say, okay, I'm ready to go sculling, well, we'll turn everybody loose. One of the funnier moments that I've had with this work, we had a lady here in her 60s, and she was a beginning sculler, and she listened to this dock talk, and she watched all the demonstrations, and at the end of it she said, Troy, I like your tricks, but they're not for me. And I said, all right, but they really are for everybody. Sometimes the comfort in the boat session, it involves quote unquote boat tricks, but it has a higher purpose. Boat tricks are great, playing in the boat is great, but it's not exactly stupid boat tricks, although by the end of it we may be doing some stupid boat tricks. But most of the ones that we're going to start with are going to involve getting more comfortable at the front end. Just sitting at the front end and letting your hands be nice and light on the handles and feeling the boat under your sit bones, that itself is a drill. One of the things that I know a lot of coaches do with their crews, and I know Larry did this with his crews at Trinity, is that always start from the catch. Because one reason being, if you always start from the release, you always start from a position of stability. Start making the position of instability into some place that you're comfortable with, and if you always start from the catch, all of a sudden racing starts are no longer a problem, because this is not foreign territory. This is comfortable. So several of my favorites, and we'll do variations on these. I've worked with this one with a couple of people already. The rowing in place drill. You can start anywhere in the stroke, but I usually start, well, at the release. Let's start it at the catch just to be consistent. Start at the catch with your blades in the water. Come all the way through the stroke without really trying to make the boat go anywhere. When you get to the release, leave the blades in the water and come back up. And this is a really good drill for a number of reasons. It takes you through every position that your body is going to be in over the course of the entire stroke cycle, and it does so while you're sitting still, so it makes the boat a little bit challenging to manage. But if you remember that basic truth of the first dock talk, if you keep your weight in the middle and your oar handles at appropriate heights, and you trust your sit bones to manage things, it tends to work out. Now, the first time most of us do this drill, the first time that you reverse direction at the catch, it tends to provoke the oh my God moment. And then you can stop, take a breath, say, all right, let's see if I can do that again without the overreaction. And lo and behold, you find out that, hey, I actually can do that. So the rowing in place drill is one that we'll do. All kinds of variations of sitting up at the front end are things that we'll do. The letting go of an oar handle with the blades feathered makes it a little more challenging if you square the blades. Oh my God. All right, I had a minor oh my God moment. I haven't done that drill in a couple of days. And then some of the more tricky-ish confidence building drills. What you find, oh, I could never, yes you can. You don't have to, but you can. What you find out from this little drill is that there's a lot of stability in one oar, and as long as you don't lean to the open side, you stay dry. All right, and let's see. I'll conclude the talk with this, and then we can get launched, and we'll all meet down beyond the swim buoys. But by the way, this, and I say this entirely seriously, this is a good session. If you were ready to move up a boat, this is a good session to move up a boat. Seriously. So if that applies to you, see Erica, and she'll get you set up. But this drill looks fancy and dangerous and all that sort of thing. This is actually one of the easiest things that we do, as long as you trust it and you don't get a little over exuberant. We call it the use the force drill. Most of you are probably familiar with Star Wars, but you get the boat moving and you toss an oar handle out in front of you and it'll come right back to you. So, the first time you see it, you think, oh my God, that's crazy dangerous. It's easy as pie. And it impresses your friends and gives you a sense of confidence that you didn't have before you did.
Well, in that case.
All right, so let's get launched. We'll meet down 100 meters beyond the end of the swim buoys and congregate. We want everybody facing back toward the docks when we get there.